All right, let's dive into one of the biggest, oldest, and most difficult questions humanity has ever asked. Seriously, if there's a good God out there, then why is there so much pain and suffering in the world? It's a question that has kept philosophers, theologians, and pretty much everyone else up at night for centuries.
And this quote? It just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's this perfect, razor-sharp summary of the dilemma. It lays out the puzzle with this, well, brutal clarity that really sets the stage for this entire conversation.
So, here we are. This is the central question. In philosophy, it's known as the problem of evil. It's all about that massive, glaring contradiction between the idea of a perfect, loving God and the messy, painful reality we all live in.
Now, to really get a handle on this, you have to understand that we're not just talking about one single argument. It's actually framed in two very different ways.
So let's break that down. On one side, you've got what's called the logical problem. This argument says that a perfect God and any evil at all are just logically impossible. They can't exist in the same universe. It's a flat-out contradiction. Then, on the other side, you have the evidential problem. This one is a little different. It's more like a courtroom case. It looks at all the evidence, the sheer amount of suffering, the horrific types of it, and it argues, doesn't all this make it highly unlikely that a good God is in charge?
So, with a challenge this profound, you can bet that thinkers throughout history have tried to come up with some pretty sophisticated answers to defend the idea of a good God.
And that brings us to this key term, theodicy. It sounds complicated, but it literally just means justifying God. A theodicy isn't just a quick excuse. It's a whole framework, a detailed attempt to explain why a good, all-powerful God might have good reasons to allow evil to exist.
So, how exactly have people tried to do that? Let's walk through three of the most famous and influential defenses in Western thought.
First up is the one you've probably heard before, the free will defense. The basic idea here is that most of the bad stuff in the world, what philosophers call moral evil, is the direct result of humans making terrible choices. It's the unavoidable, tragic price of giving us genuine freedom.
You see, the argument goes that for our choices to actually mean anything, for love to be real and not just robotic, we have to have the possibility of choosing evil. A world full of free beings, even with all its risks, is way better than a world of perfectly behaved puppets. But this defense has a big hole. It explains moral evil pretty well, but what about natural evil? What about earthquakes, tsunamis, cancer? Those aren't caused by human choices, but they cause unbelievable suffering.
Okay, next up is what's called the soul-making theodicy. This idea suggests that we should think of the world as a kind of cosmic gym for our souls. The point isn't to be comfortable. The point is to grow. We weren't created perfect. We're here to work towards it. And this is a really powerful concept, right? It says that virtues like courage, patience, and compassion can't even exist without hardship. I mean, you can't be brave if there's no danger. You can't show compassion if no one is suffering. So from this point of view, the world isn't broken. It's actually perfectly designed for its true purpose, to build our character. Our third defense takes a totally different approach. It steps back and asks a fundamental question. What even is evil? The privation theory, which is famously linked to Augustine, argues that evil isn't a thing at all. It's not something God created.
Think about it like this. Darkness isn't a substance, right? It's just the absence of light. Cold is the absence of heat. Well, according to this theory, evil works the same way. It's a lack of good, a corruption of the good that should be there. So God didn't create evil any more than he created darkness. Evil is just a hole in the fabric of goodness.
But these defenses all come from a broadly monotheistic Western perspective. What happens if we look at a worldview with a completely different operating system, a different cosmic logic?
In traditions like Hinduism, you have the concept of karma. And here, suffering isn't a problem for God to solve. It's the natural result of a universal law of cause and effect. Your actions, your intentions, in this life and past ones, create ripples that determine your future. It's an impersonal cosmic justice system playing out over endless cycles of rebirth. Okay, so we've looked at all these intricate, thoughtful arguments. But now we have to face a very stark and difficult reality. For a lot of people, when faced with truly horrific suffering, these philosophical answers just don't cut it. They can feel empty.
This example from the philosopher William Rowe is just gut-wrenching. It brings that evidential problem into painfully sharp focus. What greater good, what soul-making lesson could possibly justify that? the anonymous, agonizing, pointless suffering of this one animal. It's this kind of evil that really pushes these neat philosophical boxes to their breaking point.
And that intense challenge leads some modern thinkers to what's called an anti-theodicy position. They argue that even trying to come up with a neat, rational explanation for the Holocaust or for that fawn in the fire is not only impossible, it's morally wrong. The fear is that by trying to justify the unjustifiable, you end up trivializing the pain and disrespecting the victim. So from this perspective, the right response isn't an answer, it's just quiet, compassionate solidarity with those who suffer.
So in the end, the problem of evil isn't some abstract puzzle you just solve and put away. It is a deep, personal, and enduring challenge. It forces all of us to think about the world we live in and what we believe. Which leaves us with one final thought. Is struggling with this question a sign that faith is breaking down? Or could it be the very heart and soul of what it means to have faith in the first place?